When playing an adventure game, you'd think the two most important things are the gameplay and the story. Well, those are two things that are absolutely boring in Firewatch. And that's in part because it deals with themes such as love and loneliness, where the gameplay has absolutely no connection or point to the adventure and story premise. So let's look at what exactly Firewatch gets wrong. Now look, the visuals, I'll give it that. They are stunning.
Whoa. Look at this lighting. That's crazy. Oh, I gotta give them that.
Even if the environments have, this little cartoony element to them, it still feels so real. And the developers have put so much detail across the entire forest in almost every stretch of the imagination possible. It also helps that the sound design and the music are on par and really help you to immerse yourself in this natural breathing environment. Furthermore, the voice acting of all the three characters are excellent, allowing you to smoothly connect with their personalities.
I found a little trowel. Maybe I should take it with me. Use it to pop open beers.
Wow, 99% sure that's for burying poop.
And I'm holding it.
Maybe drop it?
Unfortunately, that's where it pretty much ends for me, as it seems that the story and the gameplay are like two entirely separate things from each other. They're dull, boring, and above all, they're a little bit misleading.
Here is one example for you, which is the trailer for the game itself.
That storm knocked out the phone line I used to talk to the service, which
You'll see immediately that he picks up this axe, and here is an animal like this turtle. It makes you think as if there's wildlife, or that you could craft things, or that you have to watch out for danger with the axe, you see. But here is the problem. This also shows you as if there is danger if you do something wrong, but it only happens like once in the game. And it makes you think as if it's a real adventure as advertised, but trust me, it's not.
Anyway, advertised as being an adventure game, you are stepping into the shoes of Henry, a man who is married to his wife Julia, who is suffering early onset dementia at the age of 41. In order to escape that difficult situation, Henry accepts a job as a fire watcher in the Wyoming forest. It is here that you meet Delilah, which is both your boss and a fire watcher herself. She's basically the secondary protagonist in the game, and you'll be in touch with her the entire game with this walkie-talkie.
Hello? Whoever this is?
It's Henry, right?
Yeah.
I'm Delilah.
Everything that you interact with or that you find can basically be reported to her, so you can gain more information about the situation, about her, and even yourself. And after all these encounters, the story basically starts as the both of you see some fireworks being shot off in the distance, and you have to go there and see who the hell is actually doing this, only to realize that there are some really strange things happening around you. In other words, that's where the mystery starts, and when you're gonna have to start finding some stuff and solve the entire mystery that is lurking in this forest. Well, first off, for being an adventure, the gameplay is so stale. You basically do one of these three things, and that's almost it. It's either climbing up or down shake slides, climbing up or down huge rocks, or collecting completely useless items in the game that have no functionality, and that for some godly reason you can actually inspect them. That also has there is no point to even expect them.
Okay, another loot box.
Suicide. Would you believe?
It's all the same. Oh, a home. Nice. There's no f***ing wildlife. but you still showed me a hole.
To put it in the game, and with it having absolutely nothing to do, is boring as hell. Another thing are the loot boxes. There are loot boxes in the forest that you can find, which all have the same code, so there's no looking for what would be the code of that box. It's all the same. And they almost have never anything interesting containing in them, except for an item that you only magically need a few seconds later in the game. And that's it! Literally! That's what the majority of gameplay interaction amounts to. You don't craft anything, you never find any dangers or even wildlife in a forest. You see, there is hardly anything that makes you feel as if this is an adventure meant to be experienced. And that's the problem. This adventure from Firewatch is more meant to be read than played. To which point the interaction is completely nullified. They might as well just have been QTE sections or automated events.
Okay, there we go. Another shale slide. Really? How many times have I already done a shale slide by now? It's always the same thing. Doesn't even snap like randomly. Like if I can't even do something wrong. Oh, there we go. Okay.
The remainder of the gameplay boils down to you opening up your walkie-talkie, reporting to Delilah with multiple options to choose from, while you are exploring the map and discovering new events that open up onto the story. Well, that very story is also bullshit! My biggest problem with the branching options is that it gives you the illusion of free choice.
Okay, so I am testing now what would happen if I don't answer her calls. I'm gonna speed up right here because it takes a little while. But like here I'm replying to her, and so I get a little text, a little different text. So now I'm gonna test what happens if I don't answer her calls. Now I also tested this across for a much longer time, and you're gonna see that she will always say the same thing. You're gonna see it in just a second. Now I'm not replying. There. Anyway, it's always the same shit she's saying. It's always, if you don't answer, anyway, blah 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 blah, I'm saying what the developer scripted me to say because we weren't bothered enough to, you know, make a different emotional response.
You see, you don't really pick a different answer to change the resolution or even the conversation with Delilah. They're all just there to temporarily change the mood of the conversation. In other words, it never really changes the ending in any possible way. And I can't really go into too much detail in order not to spoil like anything of the story, but at least here's this. The game lasts for like 3 or 4 hours max. And after 2 hours of playing, you will slowly start to discover what is going on, which builds up to a, rather tense setting and a temporarily exciting setup.
Why, I just called you that.
I found a walkie-talkie out here too.
Okay.
It's going shithouse.
However, shortly afterwards, it seems like the development has completely shut down any additional sensible build-up and just abruptly stops everything. As such, especially for younger people like me, discovering the ending will make you feel as if those 3 to 4 hours have been completely pointless, making you wonder whether you had anything at all with Delilah. But perhaps the most underdeveloped aspect of and the entirety of Firewatch is its open world. You have this big open map with tons of little areas to explore, and yet all it does is really guide you into one small corridor by means of speaking, with the alternative routes never really showing anything different or more interesting than, just being longer or shorter. There are literally hundreds of dead ends and invisible walls that will frustrate you as a player, as you might have thought that the developers put something interesting to show for you. Nope, all of the areas are just empty, making you wonder why they even included it at all.
Okay, so let me find a way around this then. Well, that rock seems normal. What? I can't get on it? What the f? It's not even as steep as some of the rocks that I can climb over.
Beyond Ruby River, there's
What the hell is this?
They burned a line a few days ago that should let you hike right to them.
You know, taking everything together and watching the forums closely, I couldn't even encounter anybody that had a different ending than the one that I had. Which is such a wasted potential for all that you had, all the quality content that you had, and you can only come up with one ending.
One ending.
And now that I think of it, even if there was a second ending, even if there are more outcomes to the game that I hadn't discovered yet or that people have yet to discover, you still cannot deny that the gameplay is so boring, giving you no reason to replay it even a second time. This brings me to my final judgment, which makes me sad. Firewatch earns a 6 out of 10. It's really a disappointment as a game where I actually have to wonder what the point of it all was. And this is a rating that is really based on what I think the game does, because I understand that I wasn't the right emotional target for this game. You see, the true loneliness is probably an aspect that will never really touch me in a game, which I understand. But I can't judge whether the gameplay is in tie with the flow of the game, because it's still a game and it needs to have interesting interactions, which are absolutely lacking here. And looking at it from a different perspective, it is so linear and so on the rails that it could have simply been a movie or a book for me, but not a game, which makes me question whether gaming was the right medium, the right choice for a subject such as Firewatch. So everything said and done, unless you're in the same emotional situation as what is being treated in Firewatch, I'm afraid that its final 2 hours of gameplay will absolutely bore you to hell. This was Gaming Reviews, and I will see you in the next review.